What is up everyone, it is me DevilNeverCry, and today we have to talk about the new Devil May Cry x Punishing Grey Raven collaboration. Now, I'm not much of a gacha or mobile gamer whatsoever, and I definitely haven't delved into Punishing Grey Raven, but so many of you reached out to let me know that I had to see this, that I'm starting to get curious. Devil May Cry 5 incarnations of both Dante and Vergil will be playable and attainable in an upcoming Devil May Cry themed event. Based on some of the information I could find, it looks like it might be going live May 22nd, albeit perhaps on the Chinese servers. But I think what astounded me and what it is that you're seeing in the background here is just the love and attention to not just the character models for both Dante and Vergil, who they've managed to transition seamlessly over to their more anime-based art style, but simply the pure attention to detail in some of the movesets too. I think as soon as you mention that this is a gacha or mobile game, albeit I'm pretty sure you can play Punishing Grey Raven on PC, a lot of people are going to check out mentally, or they're going to make direct comparisons to Peak of Combat. Which, yeah, the less said about that, the better. But I think it's safe to say that there is a world of difference between that game's combat system and the combat system that you're seeing here. There are several aspects of this collaboration that I think you'll either find quite interesting or cool, so let's break them down, starting with the gameplay. Starting with Dante here, we can see a plethora of combos making full use of juggles and aerial moves, running through a pretty wide roster. You know, we've got the Devil Sword Dante, we've got Balrog, we've got Faust, and at one point we actually even see Cavalier make an appearance as well. I'm not 100% sure if taunts are a thing in the game, but we do have Dante's signature Rose Toss as well. And to cap it all off, we even see Dante go straight into Sin Devil Trigger too. At one point, we even see Dante use his Sin Devil Trigger to vortex from rooftop to rooftop. Vergil's gameplay, on the other hand, is pretty much what you'd expect. Vergil kicks ass using the Yamato, Beowulf, the Mirage Edge, and even his Devil Trigger and the Doppelganger effect too. Now, don't get me wrong, this isn't necessarily going to be an entire replacement for Devil May Cry or a new Devil May Cry in general, but based on some of the complexity of the combos that we're seeing here with juggles, the doppelganger setups, using the summon swords to finish off enemies in interesting ways, it looks like there's definitely enough for DMC fans to sink their teeth into here, more so when you compare this to something like Peak of Combat. And before anybody asks, of course, yes, Vergil does indeed have his Judgment Cut end. At this point, I feel like that move is synonymous with Vergil, much like that blasted meme chair, which also unsurprisingly makes an appearance in this game too, albeit it's not a plastic sort of lawn chair and it's actually what it's supposed to be, which is a Clyfoth tree chair thing, whatever you want to call it. And if being able to play as both of the characters wasn't enough, we also have a bespoke Vergil boss fight complete with its own style bar. I believe they even go one step further by also providing a mission results screen that directly emulates the screen that you'd get at the end of a mission when you play DMC5. They're not features that are going to absolutely blow your mind away, but I think they're a nice touch, particularly if you're a fan of the games. One thing that I do think is quite cool though is them sticking very much to that DMC heritage with having Vergil be a boss that's going to put up quite a bit of a fight. If you have played a lot of DMC5, then a lot of Vergil's movesets or attack patterns are likely going to seem quite familiar to you in some of this gameplay. One part of this collaboration, which I think is pretty sizable and a lot of fans out there are likely to enjoy, is the fact that they actually got both Dan Southworth, the original voice of Vergil, and Ruben Langdon, the voice of Dante for the most part, to come in and provide new voice lines for this collaboration. I don't think these are taunts, more so idle chit-chat that can occur in some of the menus or perhaps after missions, but they should seem quite familiar. In fact, one of them I thought was pretty cool, and that was the one where we see Vergil pull out V's book from his back pocket, the pocket dimension, perhaps where Nero's child support is, and he goes off and he quotes some poetry from the book, like the book nerd that he is. And one of the other last pieces of this collaborative event that they showcased were brand new maps, I presume. At one point we actually see Dante running through a section of this corridor, this cathedral I guess you could say, and it features fixed camera angles, and from my limited time with actually playing Punishing Grey Raven shortly before actually recording this, It doesn't look like that's sort of a usual thing to do, so that actually might be an allusion to some of the earlier Devil May Cry titles where fixed camera angles were a thing. So with all of the cool stuff out of the way, let's finally get down to brass tacks. This is all well and good and all, but what exactly is it going to be costing people? And when it comes to Dante, it turns out that he's apparently going to be a free character, which means that it's not going to be costing players anything, other than their time of course. Vergil, on the other hand, is not free and will cost you. How much, I'm not entirely sure, but again it's important to note that this will be going live in China first, before eventually following on the global version of Punishing Grey Raven, so I believe there's likely to be some time to save up your currency for you to be able to put that towards some pulls to, fingers crossed, maybe get Vergil. But that about does it for the new information regarding the Devil May Cry collaborative event. Again, as I've said, the attention to detail in some of the character models, the fact that they've got the original voice actors back, the attention to detail in the movesets and sort of just the overall feel, even going so far as to some of those extra additional details like the style ranking or even the mission ranking screen at the end, all things that I think a lot of DMC fans are probably going to find a lot of enjoyment in. For me personally, I think, as I've said before, I'm not really much of a mobile or gacha gamer, but considering I've heard so many good things about Punishing Grey Raven, particularly from a lot of you in the comments of the videos by the way, and thank you for those who continue to make recommendations. I already have started playing the game and will likely continue to do so just a little bit so that I am in the know for when the Devil May Cry event finally reaches the global version of the game. With that said though, how are we feeling about this collaborative event? It's interesting that they went for the DMC5 iterations of Dante and Vergil. I suppose they are more relevant and contemporary than DMC3, I guess. Something that I foresee being a point of contention perhaps is the fact that they've got Ruben Langdon back to voice Dante, particularly after a lot of the controversy and the drama that occurred, with the rumor mill running in full swing, I guess, wondering what happened between him and Capcom. Especially after both voice actors for Dante and Vergil were ultimately replaced in the Netflix show. As always though, it is great to see Dan Southworth also reprise his role as Vergil, complete with that horrific meme of a chair too. They even ended up unveiling some brand new art of Dante and Vergil as well, and if there's one thing that we can count on for a gacha game, it's them absolutely nailing the art. Again, like I said with the character models, they really nailed the essence of Dante and Vergil, despite keeping that anime aesthetic, which of course is true to Punishing Grey Raven. But that about does it for this video. As I said, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video or found it useful, do be sure to leave a like, and consider subscribing to stay up to date with anything and everything Devil May Cry. With all that said and done, it has been me, DevilNeverCry. I'd like to thank all of you for watching, and as always, I'll see you all next video.